What's good, everybody? It's the Klein with Cap Show. NFL Week 18, the last of it. The regular season is over. The playoffs is here. I love it. Yes, and I understand my trash Indianapolis Colts blew it. Yes, they gave up the lead, and I think that's great for the Colts. We got a fourth overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. That's great news for the Colts. Now, the flip side is they're out of the playoffs. They are trash. But let me start off with Kansas City right now. They're the number one seed in the AFC. This is huge news. And for Patrick Mahomes, he's got to feel good and confident right now. You know, going into this playoffs with the bye, kind of just sitting back and chilling and waiting. So I think Kansas City, they definitely about a 50% chance to make the Super Bowl this year. So I would not count Kansas City out. They did win. They did beat the Las Vegas Raiders the last game of the regular season. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, 202 yards passing and a touchdown. To me, I probably would have played Patrick Mahomes. I don't even care, you know, and I understand a lot of the head coaches care about the first round bye in the playoffs. I mean, we look in history. Now, some of the teams who have won it, for instance, all even, you know, out of random, the 2006 Pittsburgh Steelers, they were on the road every single game, and they won out and won the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks. You know, that's just, obviously, that's against all odds. Obviously, to have a first round bye at home field advantage is great. It's great, but that doesn't mean you're going to go to the Super Bowl. That doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl. I think really reputation and having that momentum like the San Francisco 49ers, who are 2 seed right now, are scary. 10 wins in a row for San Francisco. That's my lock pick next weekend. They play Seattle and San Fran. I can't wait for that matchup. But shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, for the Las Vegas Raiders, do they keep Derek Carr? What should they do? There's a lot of question marks in Las Vegas right now. I don't know what they should do. I think they need to keep Derek Carr. Surround better offensive linemen. Surround better players around Derek Carr and make him grow, continue to grow, because right now the Las Vegas Raiders are trash. They're trash, but shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in first round bye. Let's go, Kansas City. And then we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, I told you to go Jacksonville. It hit. They didn't cover, but they're in the playoffs. They host the LA Chargers. I can't wait for that. But shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I placed a bet at halftime when they were down against the Tennessee Titans. I just was confident in it. They didn't have a really good quarterback, Tennessee, and I think Jacksonville right now, yes, their defense won them this game. I mean, we look back at some of Jacksonville's game when they host the Dallas Cowboys. The defense won that game off the pick six off Jenkins. Hey, shout out to Rashad Jenkins, man. He's a difference maker on Jacksonville. The safety, he made big plays after big plays. He made that sack strip fumble in this game against the Titans. I mean, just to come up big, right? And Trevor Lawrence, you know, we got to give him credit as well, even to give his defense credit to say, hey, our defense won us this game. And he understands that the offense has to flow better. And Trevor Lawrence missed some key passes this game where it's like, hey, he's got to correct himself. If they're going to beat the Chargers at home, he's got to do a lot better. And I understand, and I think Trevor Lawrence realizes that. I think he's going to continue to grow, continue to get better. I can't wait to see that matchup. But Trevor Lawrence, a kind of a quiet game. 1 touchdown, 212 yards passing. Christian Kirk, 99 yards receiving and a touchdown. Like I said, you know, Derrick Henry, he's going to do what Derrick Henry does. The best pound-for-pound back in the league, definitely fantasy-wise as well. 30 carries, 109 yards rushing. Yes, you know, Derrick Henry, I just want Derrick Henry to get a real quarterback there. Ryan Tannehill is not the guy. The guys who they had in this past couple years are not the guy. The backups aren't it. They need to start off fresh and draft a rookie quarterback. That's what the Tennessee Titans need to do. But for Jacksonville, they're on. They live on, and they won their AFC South, which is huge. So I can't wait, man. Shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They move on. And then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. I went Tampa. Atlanta did win this game. For the Bucs, Tom Brady just 184 yards passing and a touchdown. Chris Godwin, 55 yards receiving. And look, you know, for the Tampa Bay right now, they're 8-9, but yet they're still in the playoffs. They have a home game in the playoffs. Yes, they play next Monday night. I can't wait for that. They host the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, my gosh. What would it be, you know, if Tom Brady really does beat Dallas at home? You know, I'm looking at Dallas Cowboys right now, and after they lost against Washington this weekend, I'm thinking, wow, dude, they do not want to play like they've been playing recently. You know, ever since the Jacksonville game where where Dak, it wasn't his fault. He threw a pick six to lose the game. And I'm thinking, dude, all the momentum really swung away from Dallas ever since that game. And I'm kind of worried about Dallas and Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott going to be that guy in the playoffs? I don't know, dude. I don't, it's tough talking about it. It really is. But, shout out to the Bucs. They're in. That's all that matters. For Atlanta, they had some decent games this game. Drake London, 120 yards receiving. Tyler Allinger, 135 yards rushing. Then you had Desmond with 224 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think they need to go with Desmond this offseason. He's a rookie from Cincinnati. This guy's a gamer. I think they're going to stick with him for Atlanta. But for Bucs' sake right now, if they're going to win and move on and beat Dallas, it's going to be because of their defense. I don't think it's going to be with the offense and Tom Brady. I do think they need to flow a little bit better, absolutely. But overall, it's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that's going to keep them in this playoffs if they're going to run deep. So I can't wait for that matchup. But the Bucs, they move on. And then we got the Houston Texans versus my trash Indianapolis Colts. The Colts blew it. That's why I went Texans. I went Texans all the way here. It looks like the Colts just gave up the game. They didn't really hit the quarterback the last play of the game. He threw the Hail Mary. Shout out to Davis Mills. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he scored that, at the very end. Then they go for 2 and win the game. And I think for the Colts' sake, it was good to lose this game. Now they had the 4th overall pick instead of like the 5th or the 6th. I think, for Coach Jeff Saturday, I don't think the Colts should just, release him. And I understand, he won 1 game against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's it as his coaching career right now. But it's kind of set up for failure, dude. It's like we didn't really get to see much of what Coach Jeff Saturday could work with. I mean, he had a trash Nick Foles. He has a rookie quarterback that's trash. And he has Matt Ryan, who's trash and washed up. And I just feel like the Colts recently, in the past 5-6 years, have just been getting washed up quarterbacks. Ever since Philip Rivers, it's like we like washed up quarterbacks. They need to go rookie quarterback. I don't care who it is. Their first pick, number 4 overall, the Colts have to draft a quarterback. I don't want to see an offensive lineman, a receiver, which we do need. We definitely need a quarterback right away. So I think that's what the Colts need to do. Same thing with the Texans. They're probably going to go quarterback as well. It's going to be interesting, but shout out to the Colts. They get the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft. Take off, Colts. And then we got the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots are out of the playoffs. Like I said, Coach Bill Belichick ain't really shit without his boy Tom Brady, the GOAT. But shout out to the Bills. They won, and this was an easy pick for me. Stephon Diggs, 104 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Josh Allen, 254 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and a pick. I just think, for Mac Jones, I don't think he's the guy. I do think Coach Bill Belichick this offseason is going to understand, hey, I do have Bailey Zappi. I do have a gamer. I do have a guy that loves to throw the ball down the field and make big plays. So I'm going to go Bailey Zappi this offseason. I can't wait for that switch. But for the Bills, they're in right now. They are in the playoffs, and they are hosting the Miami Dolphins, which is kind of scary in a way. Both teams have split in regular season last year. This game is not a pushover, especially if Tua comes back. That's going to be interesting. But right now, the safe bet, 100%, is Buffalo Bills to win it all. Absolutely. And why do I say that? It starts with Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen has the tools to do it, and he's been playing great in the postseason the past couple years. I mean, putting up crazy numbers. I mean, we go back to the Kansas City game, dude. He threw for like 5 touchdowns. Like, I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen is locked in. The Buffalo Bills are locked in. And I think for the defense is huge for Buffalo. If they want to win a Super Bowl, not just make it to the Super Bowl, their defense has to step up. They're going to have to make plays down the stretch. They're going to have to make sacks down the stretch. That's what they're going to have to do. So the Buffalo Bills, the talent's there offensively and defensively. My thing is, can they come up with big plays on defense? That's a huge question mark. But for the Buffalo Bills right now, they're looking nice. Huge win by the Buffalo Bills. And then we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. I went Minnesota. This was an easy pick. The Bears was out. Justin Fields. For Minnesota, this was a good game for KJ Osborne, 117 yards receiving. Alexander Mattson, 54 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. I think for Minnesota right now, they are definitely an X factor in the playoffs. They're one of those teams where if they play trash, they're going to lose. Or if they get hot, which they have all year, but basically, they can win out. And I'm telling you, the Minnesota Vikings can really run deep this year. I'm telling you what, they host the New York Giants, and we saw, about a month ago, they barely beat New York Giants by 3. That was a crazy close game. I think the Giants, Minnesota game is going to be an epic one as well. no, that's not an easy game for both teams. I mean, the Giants could upset them, absolutely. I'm looking at Minnesota. In the games they've won this year, they were battle-tested all year. Down 33 points against the Indianapolis Colts, down in so many different games, and yet they came back, and that's what they do. So I think Minnesota right now, they're the most battle-tested team right now, I would say. So I think it starts with Kirk Cousins, though. And obviously Minnesota's defense, I don't think it's strong enough to win a Super Bowl. Their defense, they're going to have to step up. But I'm looking at Kirk Cousins right now and saying, hey, this is a prime time for you. You got one more year left right here. So this is the game. This is the game for Kirk Cousins to go off here and show him who Kirk Cousins is. So I think Minnesota has got their hands full against the Giants, but a huge win against the Bears. Go Minnesota Vikings. And then we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It was all Bengals in this matchup. I went Bengals. Joe Burrow, 215 yards passing and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 86 yards receiving and a touchdown for the Bengals. And like I said, this is a run-back game, a repeat game. They're matching each other in the playoffs in Cincinnati yet again. My thing is with the Baltimore Ravens, both teams know each other. They're 1-1 in the regular season. They split. And I think for Baltimore, obviously you need Lamar. You need Lamar, and I hope Lamar's back practicing right now and 100% healthy, because without Lamar, we know the Bengals are going to run through Baltimore. They are. They're going to run through him now. If Lamar's back here, that changes a lot of things. And I think, for Baltimore, it brings a lot of momentum back, and it brings that vibe back, the winning culture, what Lamar brought to the Baltimore Ravens. So I think, two-time Pro Bowl, and for me, for Lamar, he's the X factor, dude. If he doesn't play, obviously Cincinnati, even if he does play, the odds are stacked against them. They're already underdogs right now, 6.5 against the Bengals next week in this playoff game. So I think for Lamar sake, he's got to play. He's got to ball out. He's got to have his best game of his career this game right now against the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl last year, who lost in the Super Bowl last year against the Rams. You don't think they're ready? You don't think they got redemption right now? You don't think they have ambition? You don't think they have the fire? So I think Lamar, the odds are stacked against the Ravens tremendously, but a huge win by Cincinnati. We'll see this game run back next week. I cannot wait. And then we got the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Miami won. They covered the 2 points. They finally broke the 5-game losing streak. And for Miami, look, they go into Buffalo. They won this game. And for the Jets, they got to hit the reset button with the quarterback. Shout out to Garrett Wilson for the Jets. He came on late. 9 receptions, 89 yards receiving. This kid's a gamer at Ohio State. Shout out to Garrett Wilson. But for Miami's sake, is Tua going to be back for the playoffs? Are they going to roll with their rookie? I don't know what's going to happen. But overall, right now, for Miami Dolphins, they are lucky to even get in the playoffs. After losing 5 games in a row, the way they looked, they're going into Buffalo yet again, and they lost in Buffalo in the snow by 3 points. I mean, this is going to be an epic game, but without Tua, I'm definitely going to go Buffalo all day. But Miami, they live on, and they move on to the playoffs. They're going up to cold Buffalo Bills. I can't wait for that game either. And then we got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. I went Carolina. It hit in this matchup. Shout out to Sam Darnold, 43 yards, hit 2 picks. Trash game, really. But they got the job done. Andy Dalton, 171 yards passing and a touchdown. Kamara, 107 yards rushing. I think overall, looking at these two teams, is they need quarterbacks. And I'm not trying to dog on Sam Darnold and say he's trash, but I just think overall, Carolina, they haven't really been relevant since Cam Newton. If we look back at Cam Newton days in Carolina, they haven't been anybody since, dude. And it's kind of sad in a way because, the way they won this game. But I think for the Saints, man, they're going to have to get a quarterback. They're going to have to. Same thing with Carolina, but these teams are out, so it's irrelevant. But I told you guys to go Carolina. It hit. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers getting the job done. And then we got the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I went Pittsburgh in this matchup at 2.5. I said, no way they're losing this game, and they won. They won, but the sad news is they didn't get in. They needed some extra luck as well, but they came on late. And we got to give a shout-out to Kenny Pickett, 195 yards and a touchdown. Najee Hines, 84 yards rushing and a touchdown. I think overall, looking at Pittsburgh right now, they definitely have some growth. And it starts with Kenny Pickett. And I love Kenny Pickett. Everything he's done right now in his rookie season, started off really terrible. But right now, the last couple games of the season makes me think that the future is bright for Pittsburgh Steelers. To have Kenny Pickett, 100%. Deshaun Watson, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Nick Chubb, 77 yards rushing. Amari Cooper, 51 yards receiving. But for the Browns, I mean, obviously, they're going to roll with Deshaun Watson. Hopefully he doesn't get too many handies this offseason in the massage parlor. Who knows what's going to happen there? But for Pittsburgh Steelers, nothing to hang your hat. They will come on next year, and I can't wait to see what Kenny Pickett and they do in that culture. I'm telling you what, with Mike Tomlin, I can't wait. So I think this training camp is going to be interesting, but shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers getting the job done. They're going to miss the playoffs, though. Same thing with the Browns. And then we got the LA Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. I went Chargers. The Broncos won barely 31-28, and Russell Wilson finally had a good game. 283 yards passing with 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Where was that Russell Wilson all year? You know what I'm saying? This is the last game of the season. Obviously, the Broncos are done. Jerry Jeudy, 5 receptions, 154 yards receiving. For the Browns, it's like, yes, they're probably going to stick with Russell right now. I mean, they paid him so much money. They'd be losing a lot to give him up. So obviously they're gonna roll with Russell. My thing is, what happened, dude? What was the downfall for the Denver Broncos? I'm trying to look and think, what happened, dude? The Broncos fell off tremendously, and I'm thinking, how, why, how did this start, dude? How did this disaster melt down? I don't know. You know, and the LA Chargers, they're in, dude. Shout out to the Chargers. They're playing in Jacksonville next week. I can't wait for that matchup. You know, we got Justin Herbert, a young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, a young quarterback. 2 young teams. I can't wait, man. Shout out to the LA Chargers. Hey, the Broncos, hey, you guys won a game. Congrats. And then we got the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants didn't start their starters, which was smart. Philly won this game. We saw Jalen Hurts play this game, 229 yards passing, and he had an interception as well. They didn't cover. A.J. Brown, 95 yards receiving for Philly. They get the first round bye. That's huge. Obviously, home field advantage as well. But my thing come playoff time is, does Philadelphia Eagles have the momentum? Right now, I feel like some of their confidence has been taken away the past month, ever since Jalen Hurts hurt his right shoulder with that right shoulder strain. Ever since then, they kind of been looking a little different. But that's not going to take anything away. He's back. I do think we will see Philly really man up, in 2 weeks from now. But them having a first-round bye is huge. So shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They got it done. Number 1 seed in the NFC. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we got the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. I picked 49ers. This was my lock pick all week. The 49ers on a 10-game winning streak. Crazy. Shout out to Brock Purdy. 178 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell is back with 2 touchdowns as well. I'm telling you what, dude. We're going to see San Francisco probably make the Super Bowl this year. They're my dark horse to make the Super Bowl. I mean, won 10 games in a row. They're getting Deebo Samuel back. They got McCaffrey. Brock Purdy's playing nice. George Kittle. Dude, they are stacked, and their defense is top 3 in the league. So I think San Francisco right now is definitely my dark horse to really go. I understand I said Minnesota Vikings, but right now San Francisco is that team. They have a bunch of dogs. So shout out to the San Francisco 49ers. They're number 2 seed. I can't wait for that. But shout out to J.J. Watt, man. 2 sacks in this game, his last game of his career. He had a standing ovation. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. J.J. Watt, ever since he came in the league in 2011 out of Wisconsin, hey, this guy's a dog. He's a dog, Hall of Famer. Shout out to J.J. Watt. The San Francisco 49ers host the Seattle Seahawks. I can't wait for that matchup. It's not going to be a pushover, but I'm definitely going San Francisco right now. Shout out to the 49ers. And then we got the L.A. Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks won the game in overtime. They did not cover the 6 points. Look, for Seattle, they're in. Obviously, they play San Fran, and it's going to be a long shot. Geno Smith this game against the Rams, 213 yards passing with a touchdown and 2 picks. And then we had Kenneth Walker, 114 yards rushing. Tyler Lockett, 54 yards receiving and a touchdown. So Seattle, they're legit. They got some playmakers for the Rams. Sean McVay, I'm hearing rumors he might not return in 2023. That's kind of sad as well. Cam Akers came on late, 104 yards rushing. Baker Mayfield just 147 yards and a pick. Obviously the Rams, they need to hit the reset button. They absolutely do. From winning the Super Bowl last year in 2022 to not even making the playoffs this year in 2023. That is crazy to me. I'm looking at Coach Sean McVay and saying, what happened? What the heck happened? But shout out to Seattle, man. Shout out to Pete Carroll making the playoffs with this team, with Geno Smith as your quarterback. Hey, that's a plus. So they go into San Francisco. I can't wait. I think they're going to get blown out, but you never know. This is why they play the games. And then we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Commanders. I picked the Cowboys at 7. They got blown out. It was all Washington here. I can't believe it, man. Sam Howell, the rookie quarterback out of North Carolina, 169 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick. He had that rushing touchdown. That's awesome. Terry McLaurin, 74 yards receiving and a touchdown. It was all Washington here. And I'm looking at Dak Prescott, 128 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick. CeeDee Lamb, 52 yards receiving and a touchdown. I'm looking at Dallas, though, and saying, look, dude, like, you guys are going into Tampa Bay. This isn't going to be an easy game. You're playing against the GOAT. And I understand, Tampa Bay this year's been terrible. You know, there's been some games where they're putting up some good points, like Week 17. Obviously, Mike Evans snapped off with 3 touchdowns. But overall, right now, obviously, the Cowboys are a better team than Tampa Bay. So for the Cowboys, if they lose to Tampa Bay, I'm looking at not just Jerry Jones. I'm looking at the Cowboys organization and saying, again? This is going to happen again, dude. We saw it the past 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 20 years now for the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. So it's going to be the same story. Are they going to flip the script? I'm looking at Dak Prescott and saying, look, dude, you're going into Tampa playing against the GOAT. This is your time to shine. You guys got so much talent. CeeDee Lamb, dude. Dalton Schultz. You got Zeke, Pollard. Dude, so many great players. What's the excuse going to be? There should not be one for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm telling you what. You guys better be ready, dude. I'm telling you, if they lose the first game of their playoffs, dude, I'm just going to laugh, dude. It's the same shit every single year with the Dallas Cowboys. When is it going to change? When are you guys going to make it to the Super Bowl? When are you guys going to win a Super Bowl? That's my question. So, you know, for Dallas Cowboys, they're in an uphill battle. And then we got the Sunday night game, the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. Hey, shout out to the Detroit Lions, man. I should have went Detroit. My God, I don't know why I went Green Bay, but throughout this year, I just didn't see it in Green Bay. I didn't see the fire. I didn't see the passion. Yeah, the last couple games were good, but for Aaron Rodgers this year, it was bad, man. You know, 205 yards passing, a touchdown, and a pick. It looks like right now Aaron Rodgers just wants to collect his paycheck and set off into retirement. I mean, I don't know what went down. Christian Watson, 104 yards of receiving, you know, played pretty well. But overall, man, it was all Detroit. Jamal Williams, 72 yards of rushing and 2 touchdowns. Had that go-ahead touchdown to take the lead, 20-16, and that was the final score. Jared Goff, 224 yards passing. I'm looking at Green Bay and saying, man, dude, what a year. You know, what a terrible year. You guys, from last year losing to the San Francisco 49ers in Lambeau Field, and then want to blame your special teams to the last game of the regular season and losing it, and if you would have won, you would have got in. I'm looking at Green Bay and shaking my head and saying, wow, something has to be changed. I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers and saying, what's next for Aaron? So much talent Aaron Rodgers has, but yeah, has nothing to show for it. It's sad. It's really sad. But shout out to the Detroit Lions. I wish they would have got in. I kind of wish Seattle would have lost, so Detroit would have got in. But hey, man, this is the playoff football. The regular season is over. The AFC is set. We got Bills versus Miami. That's going to be a classic matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Baltimore Ravens. And then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the LA Chargers. I can't wait for that. Then the NFC, we got the San Francisco 49ers versus Seattle. Minnesota versus the Giants, man. With these 2 teams we've already seen play. And then we got the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. I cannot wait. Then Philly, shout out to Philly and Kansas City getting the first round buys. Hey, man, I cannot wait. This is what they play for, the playoffs, for the Super Bowl. I cannot wait, baby. It's the playoffs. It's the Cloud with Cab show. Let's go!